Good morning, and thank you all for joining us. As a reminder, today's press conference will begin with student athletes. We'll begin with Branson Bragg. As a reminder, this press conference is being streamed live to YouTube, and to please leave your lines muted until called upon to ask a question. If you would like to ask a question, use the raised hand function through Zoom. With that, we'll begin to open it up for questions. We'll begin first with RJ Abetia. Go ahead, RJ.
Hey, Branson. You guys as an offensive line group came into the season with a lot of expectations. I'm just curious, what were the big takeaways from the Kansas State film?
Yeah, we didn't put our best foot forward. I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah, I mean, we didn't perform the way we wanted to and the way we feel like we can. So,
Coach Shaw said that he felt like there was a lot left out on the field. Did you guys feel like there were a bunch of plays where maybe you were one assignment or two assignments away from making some big plays?
Yeah, absolutely. And that just comes back to playing as a unit. When one guy misses his block, that can kill the whole play, even if everyone else does well. And I feel like as an O-line, we kind of just took turns dropping the ball on Saturday. And, you can't win football games like that.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Troy Clardy. Go ahead, Troy.
Hey, Branson, just kind of take me through your mindset, what you take with you out onto the field every single time. I understand that you're kind of like a silent assassin type of guy out there. What kind of mindset do you take out there whenever you're out there on the field?
Just trying to be physical, beat the guy across from me, and just seamless communication with the guys next to me. Yeah, I mean, I try to be as nasty of a football player as I can be. Yeah.
Drew Dahlman, obviously now in the NFL, playing center. Drake Nugent now in the mix at center. Any changes? Anything kind of different with Drake at the center spot so far this year?
Yeah. So last year, I was blessed to play between two guys who are now in the NFL, Drew, as you mentioned, and Foster. Just great guys, amazing leaders. So in the offseason, my class, myself, Walter, Barrett, Jake, and Drake, we kind of got together and said that none of us are as proven of leaders as Drew and Foster were. So if we can kind of lead in the aggregate and get the O-line going that way, that would be the best way to go about it. And I think Drake's done an awesome job. He took 2 years to be Drew's backup and learn the offense, learn the mic points, things like that. I think he's an awesome center. I'm glad to be playing next to him.
Next, we'll go to Ben Parker.
Yeah, could you just kind of talk about first? Hope you're having a good day and everything. But could you just talk about kind of what areas of your game maybe most kind of focused on, both in terms of improving your ability to pass block and then also run block as well?
Yeah. Pass blocking, I feel like, was kind of a glaring weakness in my game last year. I don't feel like I pass protected well. So over the offseason, especially with Coach Heff coming in, I feel like I've made some strides. Coach Heff's very detailed in his coaching of pass protection, and just different things to think about, different things to go about protecting the quarterback that I hadn't really thought of before. And I feel like I'm kind of coming into my own in the pass protection game, especially in using my hands. Wasn't very good at that last year. I would kind of absorb hits and try to just hug guys and anchor and stay in. But I have long arms for a guard, so being able to use them and learning how to use them is an ongoing process that I feel like I'm improving at. And then in the run game, it's really just about getting movement and just opening holes for the running backs. And I feel like I did okay at that last year. It was definitely a strength in my game, but this year again with Coach Heff coming in, there's more detail, there's more ways to think about going about the game, and I feel like I'm improving in that area as well.
We'll now go to Dave Kiefer.
Sorry. Hey, Branson, do you feel that basically kind of the simplified version of the offense is if you guys can run the ball effectively, that you should win the game?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The more dominant we can be in the run game, the better we're going to be as a team. And that's part of what stings, is that we didn't get the running game going Saturday, really at all. And that hurts, as an offensive lineman, the guy whose job is to open up the holes and let the running backs run through. So we just have to improve. And as soon as we can get the running game going, I think we're going to be a great team. So.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, do you feel like you guys have the pieces to do that? I mean, obviously a veteran line, veteran back, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Next, we'll go back to Troy Clardy.
Branson, as weird as it seems, this is the first time in 2 years that Stanford's facing USC. Obviously, didn't play the Trojans last year. What does this week mean to you, and your initial thoughts on the Trojans and some things they can throw at you on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm excited. They're a physical group. They play hard. They're explosive, quick, and I'm very excited for the game. So my freshman year, we played at USC, so I got to go. I didn't get in the game. I was just on the sideline, but the atmosphere is electric. It should be an awesome place to play. So very excited.
We'll go back to RJ Batesia.
Yeah, Branson, kind of going off of that last question, what is your impression of the USC defensive line, and how complicated do they get in terms of running games and stuff like that? And what are the things that stand out from their tape?
Yeah, they give a lot of different looks on defense, a lot of different ways that they'll line up. They do run a lot of games. So, we have to be seamless in our pass offs kind of guys. Like I said, they're very athletic, very shifty. And then just powerful players. So I'm very excited to play them.
And then just one last one for me. I know you guys are taught to run the play regardless of who the quarterback is, but I'm just curious, in the huddle, personality-wise, what are kind of the differences, if any, between Tanner and Jack?
I wouldn't say there's a ton of differences. Like you said, I just block. So the real differences are just, whose voice is saying the cadence, which, doesn't change a lot. So, they're both great guys, and whoever's back there, I just got to block for them.
And just a last quick thing, how's the jazz piano game these days?
Yeah. So in our fall camp dorm, they put all football together in one dorm, and they have not one but two grand pianos in the lounge. So I had some fun. We have some other guys on the team who play piano. Spencer Jorgensen's really good. And we would kind of sit down at either one and just kind of duet and play off of each other. It was a really fun time, but definitely a good way to decompress during fall camp after, meetings and practice and whatnot. Just being able to get in there and, relax a little bit.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go back to Ben Parker.
Yeah, first of all, piano is my instrument, so very excited to hear that you play that as well. That's what's up. Good for you. Secondly, my question was going to be on the running backs, Austin Jones, Nathaniel Pete, EJ Smith, just the entire running back group. What have you seen from those guys as you've, obviously been blocking for them?
Yeah, we have some insanely athletic running backs. Very good. Austin Jones, Nate Pete, EJ Smith, Casey Filkins. The list kind of just goes on and on of guys that when we give them a seam, they will take it and they'll run. So, Austin, especially, just powerful runner, runs through people, shifty in space as well. We got some guys with some speed and athleticism. So.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, hi, Branson. I was curious about your major, mathematical and computational science, and I know a few athletes have had that major that I've come across. But this is your junior year, and you're going to be in the upper division now, and in a sounds like a pretty difficult major. I'm just curious how that's going to work out for you, and also how long you've been involved in or interested in computer science or that type of thing.
Yeah. So whenever I came in, I've always been kind of good at math. So I figured I would do something aligned with math. And then I took our first computer science class here, CS 106A, and just loved it. I mean, it's just my favorite class here. It's so well taught. So then I found that MCS major, which is really just half math, half computer science, then some other like statistics sprinkled in. But it's just kind of the stuff I'm good at and the stuff I like learning about. So it's really cool. I'm excited. And then also speaking to like playing a season and taking those classes, I've kind of set up my 4-year plan to where I won't be, drowning in academics at the same time I'm playing a football season, so you can definitely make it work from that standpoint.
Do we have any final questions for Branson? Okay, thank you very much, Branson.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. We'll be joined by Kendall Williamson momentarily. Okay, we are now joined by Kendall Williamson. As a reminder, just please leave your lines muted until called upon to ask a question. And if you would like to ask a question, please use the raise hand function through Zoom. With that, we'll open up for questions, starting off with Troy Clardy.
Hey, Kendall, a tale of two halves, it seems, for the defense this past Saturday. What were the big differences in your mind between the first half and the second half? And what are some of the things that this defense can build on that it was able to accomplish in the second half going forward?
I think a couple of things that we changed definitely in the second half compared to the first half was, one, we did a better job of limiting big plays. Of course, they still scored a touchdown in the second half, but I feel like we did a better job of limiting like those big plays that occurred in the first half that led to scores. And also just did a better job of getting some stops like on important downs, third downs, and got them off the field. So I feel like that's something that we improved in the second half, and definitely something that we can hopefully continue and carry on into the next game is limiting big plays and making those important stops.
Next, we'll go to Ben Parker.
Yeah, obviously huge game against USC. They're an elite team. Just how excited are you to go into SoCal and, get an opportunity to upset them?
Ben, I think you cut out there. Would you mind repeating your question?
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool. I think I'm muted prematurely there. Yeah, my question is just on USC. Just how excited are you to go into their building and get a shot to upset them, and just that challenge?
I'm very excited. I think the whole team is. It's our first Pac-12 game. Getting the chance to go up against a team like USC in the Coliseum, I feel like it's definitely a big game for us. And just getting a chance to go out there and ball out with my brothers and everything like that, I think it's just, we're all excited about it. We're all happy to move on to this next week.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, hi, Kendall. Just wondering about, where you take the most pride in your game. Do you feel like your run defense is something that you really take a lot of pride in, or other parts of your game? I'm just curious, what you feel like you really enjoy and what you feel like you're best at.
That's interesting. I feel like I enjoy a lot of different things. I do like playing in the box in the run game. I feel like when I get the opportunity to do that, it's always a good time. Also playing middle safety too. coming down, making tackles is always an exciting time. And yeah, those are a couple of main things.
Next with RJ Batia.
Hey, Kendall. So USC's offense is not exactly known for its complexity, but that doesn't make it an easy offense to play. Can you just talk about the challenges in their pass game and what they've shown you in their run game after the first game of tape?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think a lot of in the past game, as you said, like they're still a difficult offense to play. They have a lot of talent every single year, and that's no surprise to anybody, especially with coming out being ranked. They've always got talent at receiver, talent at quarterback, talent at running back. So I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges is playing a team that's talented all around. And as far as the running game, seeing a lot of stretch outside, a lot of outside runs, and they're just letting their backs get to work and get upfield, find whatever holes that they can. So I think those are some of the important parts of their run pass game.
So Drake London is the name I'm sure you know. He had literally half the team's catches. I'm just curious, when you have a guy who is such a focus for an opposing offense, where's the balance between giving him the attention he's going to need and, minding the store with all the rest of the players?
I think a good balance can be felt depending on a lot of things. What are his targets in the game that we're playing? Obviously, like you said, you got have to catches, have the targets last game. So I mean, he's definitely going to be an important part of like the defensive game plan. But also there's a lot of other people on that offense to account for as well. So I feel like depending on how that game is going, the momentum, just how the targets are accumulating as well, will kind of determine that balance.
Thank you.
Next, go to Harold Gutmann.
Oh, hi, Kendall. I know Saturday's game probably didn't go like you expected it to go or like you would have wanted it to go. I'm just wondering what's the mood like with the team right now?
Very hopeful. I mean, it was the first game. Obviously, like you said, it's not what we wanted. We always want to come out with a win, and we didn't get that. But we also learned a lot of lessons from that. Took a lot from that game and figured out where we need to make improvements and what's the next move for us. So I say very hopeful, very excited for the oncoming season. It's a long season. It was the first game, and there's a lot more room for improvement.
We'll go back to Ben Parker.
Yeah, Kendall. I'm curious what response you get to this question, because I know you guys are obviously most focused on yourselves and not really worried about what other people are doing. But the entire Pac-12 North really struggled this weekend. Oregon barely beat Fresno State. Washington got upset by Montana. Cal lost to Nevada at home. I mean, do you look at that and see the other teams in your division are struggling and think, hey, we're not alone in this? And does that kind of give you some hope in a way to kind of see other teams in your own division? Does that kind of give you a sense of, hey, there's an opening here for us to take this division?
I'll say yes and no. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like me and everybody on this team wants to play every single other team at its best, and when they're performing their best as well, and go against them and compete against them. But also, I feel like part of it is just us focusing on ourselves and bettering our team and come out with wins for us. Obviously, looking around the Pac-12, the North and the South, that's always going to be something that's important considering everybody wants to win a Pac-12 championship. But I feel like also our main focus is on us and improving ourselves.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, Kendall, I was just curious about your secondary as a group. A lot of veterans back there. Obviously, a couple injuries with Jonathan and Salim. I'm just wondering, how do you guys work together? You and Noah, obviously Caillou, Ethan. How do you feel like that dynamic is, and what do you say most impressed with some of your teammates? I mean, obviously Caillou's an amazing player. Just where do you guys stand as a secondary?
I feel like you said, we had the injuries with John and Salim, and that definitely hurt us. But I feel like they've done a great job at continuing to like help unite our DB unit, and they've pushed a lot of information out to Ethan, to Caillou, to me and Noah as well, and we're just all working well together. I feel like we're getting on the same page and about a lot of these things, about like our game plans, getting together about just all different things that have to go on and like throughout the week for game planning and everything like that. So I feel like we are coming together. There's like a strong bond I feel like that's developing between all of us, like a trust as well. And just having that is definitely helping us work better together. And definitely without the help of Caillou and Salim, like it wouldn't be possible. And in terms of things that have impressed me, I definitely would say Ethan and Caillou, like they've both been playing some nickel and in the slot. So that ability to be diverse and handle both corner and nickel responsibilities, I feel like is something is somebody just you can't really turn your head away from. Is very impressive. So for them to be able to pick it up in such a short time after John's injury, it was something that I was definitely impressed with.
We'll go back to Ben Parker.
Yeah, this is my last question. I asked Branson the same question. Just kind of what aspects of your game have you most kind of focused on kind of this off season, both in terms of defending the run and also defending the pass?
I'd say for both. Well, this one applies to both, but probably like game IQ. Definitely like developing my knowledge on the game and watching just a lot more film. I'm trying to be able to see things in real time and transfer that to the game is something that I try to focus on a lot. Just looking at a lot of older tape of guys here, guys from different colleges who did it well, and like kind of just try and pick up some things and apply them to myself. So I feel like game IQ is definitely something, and then also just energy and like my ability to get to the ball. That's something that I definitely wanted to improve this off season. Something that I worked on a lot. So those are a couple of things.
We have any final questions for Kendall? Okay, thank you very much, Kendall.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good day.
Okay, Coach Shaw will be with us momentarily, so we ask that you please remain patient. He's finishing up another call right now. We'll be headed down shortly. Coach Shaw is headed down now, so we'll be starting momentarily. Okay, thank you all for joining us. We're now joined by head coach David Shaw. As a reminder, to please leave your lines muted until called upon to ask a question. And if you would like to ask questions, to please use the raise hand function. As always, we will start with a statement from Coach. Coach, your line is muted right now.
There we go. Thank you. Welcome to everybody. It's just coming out of last Saturday's game. No significant injuries, bunch of bumps and bruises, but we're relatively healthy and should get Jacob Mangum-Farrar back, which will be a big plus to us. And now have a still have a good 4-man rotation at inside linebacker. I thought the guys played well Saturday, but it'll be great to have Jacob back. We will start Tanner McKee this week. We will not rotate the quarterbacks. I'm sure you'll ask some questions that I won't answer, but I appreciate you all understanding that. Watching the film, I put it on my shoulders that we had a lot of game 1 issues, in particular on the offensive side, more so than we usually have. That's our job to get that out. Kansas State did not have a lot of those issues, which is part of the reason why the score was the way that it was. We had opportunities. We took advantage of some, but many we lost. Defensively, I thought we had some great efforts out there. And yet still gave up a couple of big plays that led to points. Offensively, we just have to be so much better when we cross the 50 to get points. And we got right on the verge of field goal range multiple times, and whether it's a turnover or a sack or a penalty that got us back out of that area. So those are things that we have to improve on. Got to play very, very well to beat a good team on the road. And we know that. We understand that. Had to do it last year. It's not about playing perfectly, but about playing smart and in all 3 phases, taking advantage of whatever opportunities the other team allows you to have. So with that, I'll open up with questions.
As a reminder, to please use the raise hand function if you'd like to ask a question. We'll start off with RJ Batia.
Hey, Coach. Like you said on Saturday, you kind of theorized that there was a lot of plays left out on the table for you guys. Did the film kind of back that up? And can you talk specifically about maybe the offensive line in that regard?
I think the opportunities, the ones that were glaring to me were not related to the offensive line. There are opportunities we had with 3-man rush, and we missed 3 throws. That one was potentially a touchdown. Another one gets us at least inside the 10-yard line, if not a touchdown. And another one gets us a first down and puts us in scoring position. Those are the opportunities I was referring to. I thought the offensive line in the pass protection world really wasn't bad. Running game wise, we knew this defense was going to be tough and difficult, and we was going to be tough sledding. And we still wanted to run much better than we did, and look for a vast improvement there this week.
And can you just break down the matchup between your offensive line and USC's defensive line? It seems like there's a pretty good amount of talent on both sides of the ball there.
Yeah, and we're going to need to step up our game. I thought we played okay up front. Thought we could have played much better, and we're going to need to. The USC's front, there's size, speed, athleticism. They're always on the attack, and That's one of the things that we need to respond to, and not receive their attack, but we need to be on the attack. I think if we play well, I think it's a good match. And there's going to be plays made on both sides.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Troy Clardy.
Yeah, Coach, when assessing a quarterback, you've assessed them both, obviously, and you're going with Tanner for this one. When you're assessing a quarterback's performance, how much weight is given to how much help he gets around him with protection from up front, how the running game does, how receivers do, situations, things like that? How much weight is given to what happens around the quarterback when you're assessing how the quarterback himself is doing?
You try not to weigh too much of that in. I kind of said that last week going into it, where, if you call a play action pass, and one guy gets a protection, the other guy doesn't, that doesn't affect the quarterback. Evaluation of the quarterback. What does affect the evaluation of the quarterback is what they do with whatever situation they are given. Whether or not anybody does anything around them is just a factor in determining how we evaluate what they do.
We'll go to Ben Parker.
Sorry, just unmuted myself there. Coach, could you just talk about on the defensive side of the ball, Kaivu Kelly, his performance? He's in the PFF All Team of the Week. Had a big interception and did a great job kind of shutting down his side of the field. Just talk about his performance and how much of an asset he's going to continue to be for you guys this year.
People forget Caillou came out, started as a freshman, and he was on some people's, All-American lists, first team, second team, whatever. Played really well. Last year was never completely healthy, but going into last year, before Paulson declared he wasn't coming back, I thought we were going to have the best corner matchup tandem in America because of what Caillou was showing his freshman year, and Paulson was coming off an All-American type year, leading the nation in pass breakups. Caillou wasn't completely healthy, and then Paulson didn't come back. But now that Caillou's healthy, I think he's got a chance to be really special. I was messing with him the other day. Like, he's so mature now. He understands what he does well. He understands what he needs to work on. He understands the opponent. So that game was indicative of how hard he's worked to put himself in this position. And he's got another great opportunity against USC and multiple really good receivers. He's going to have to go out there and cover and do well and still play the running game. So I know Caillou's out to become, a really, really good all-around corner. And this game is going to be another opportunity for him to do that.
Next, we'll go to Dave Kiefer.
Yeah, hi, Coach. What? This is kind of a simple question, but what do you want to see from Tanner? And then I guess kind of in addition to that is, we probably haven't seen Tanner at his best, whereas, because he hasn't had a chance to really showcase what he can do yet. What can we look for from Tanner also?
Well, I think you got a chance to see some good things that last drive that led us for a touchdown. Made some nice throws, including the touchdown throw. Made a nice throw up the sideline to John Humphreys earlier as well. I just told Tanner, I just want him to play. He doesn't have to take the world on his shoulders. He doesn't have to do anything other than play quarterback. He's got size, athletic ability. He's got strong arms, got a quick release. Us being able to run the ball, I think, will take some pressure off of him in his first start. So that's going to be a big factor is really getting our running game started in order to be as balanced an offense as we want to be.
We'll go back to Troy Clardy.
In some weird kind of way, did you miss not playing USC last year? And what does USC week in general mean to you? Absolutely.
Missed playing them last year. It's I'm a West Coast kid. I'm a Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12 guy, and Stanford and SC always play. There's a lot of crossover with our alumni, a lot of communication with our alumni. It's always a special game. So yeah, and I'm always one of those when we were becoming the Pac-12 and deciding, I was one that raised my hand saying, hey, Stanford and Cal need to play SC and UCLA, regardless. It's just we have some great traditions there. So did miss playing them. This game is very emotional, especially playing down in the Coliseum. And we have a lot of Stanford alumni down there. There'll be some Stanford people there, but it's going to be loud and raucous environment. And if you're a competitor, it's what you look forward to.
So you're breaking out the loudspeakers at practice again. I take it, playing that song over and over again.
I think our guys will be used to the song by the end of the week.
We'll go to Jackson Moore.
Coach, do you anticipate having one quarterback will develop a better rhythm offensively, or was that not a major play into some of the offensive struggles last weekend?
No, our offensive struggles really didn't have much to do with the quarterback. We did turn the ball over twice, but I mean, both guys were high percentage completion. Both guys were able to move the team. It was really the penalties outside those two turnovers that really got us. False starts early in the game, hard to get a rhythm, going backwards, a couple of penalties, holding penalties, etc. Those were the things that really hurt us.
Go ahead, RJ.
Coach, one of the things you were able to do last year when the offense was rolling and historically to some of these tempo teams is shorten the game and shorten the possession count. I'm curious how big of a deal that is for you guys going into Saturday specifically.
I usually don't think of it as shortening the game, but I do think of it in terms of possessions. Whereas if we can have longer possessions, that limits the number of possessions that the other team has. In particular, when you're playing a spread offense that usually has a high number count of plays. So if we can limit their opportunities with the ball, we limit their opportunities to score. That's just the law of time. So that's big for us, is being able to keep the ball away from them. But the bottom line is we have to go down there and we have to score. Keeping the ball in time of possession means absolutely nothing if you don't score. So that's one of our biggest things. I mentioned it earlier, is being able to cross the 50 and come away with points. So time of possession is huge only if you can score touchdowns.
And then I think it was the triple overtime win in the Coliseum was the last time this game was not an early season game. I'm just curious, are you basically at peace with its slot in the schedule, or would you maybe, if there was a way, like to see this given more of a prime season spot, like a November slot like it was in the past?
I think we're all used to it now. It's been a while since we've done this. Given my preferences, yes, I would like to push this game back a little bit because it is so big, because it is so emotional. You'd love to have a little bit more of a ramp up to it. And we'll see what happens, with our new alliance and changing schedules over the next decade plus. But yeah, I would love to push this game back, but at the same time, there's something about having an early season rivalry game that I think gets your team excited and motivated to go out there and play well.
Thank you.
Go back to Jackson.
Coach, San Jose State gave USC some fits defensively with their 3-4 scheme for about 3 quarters. Curious if you've seen any similarities in the film that may play into your benefit for this weekend?
Potentially. I mean, there are some similarities. There are a lot of differences between the defense they play and the defense that we do. But hopefully we'll be able to give them some pause and be able to play at least as well as we did last week, if not a little bit better.
We'll go to Ben Parker.
Yeah, just on Tanner McKee in general, you've coached a lot of really talented quarterbacks at Stanford over the years. Is there any particular quarterback that you've coached that he most reminds you of, or how does he stack up against some of those other guys that you've also coached?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to stay away from comparisons until the guy plays at least half a season, let alone before his first start. But he has a lot of the traits that you're looking for. Reason why he was so highly rated coming out of high school. Quick release, very accurate, very competitive, great leader. He's for tall guys, pretty athletic too. He can move, and he's got a strong arm, and he doesn't need a lot of space. He doesn't need to really step into it. He's got a strong arm and can get the ball down the field. This competition really has gone really well. Both guys really elevated their games. Both guys played really, really well up until this past weekend. So he's shown the team a lot of what he can do, and going out in the game, I thought he still made some young guy mistakes, still some things that he has to clean up and do better. But at the same time, I think he also showed a lot of promise.
We'll go to Dave Kiefer.
Yeah, Coach, I believe the last time you played them, Keaton Slovis was starting for the first time. He had a great game in that one. I'm just wondering what the challenges are for your defense against him specifically. Obviously, there's other weapons too, but obviously he can do a lot of things.
Yeah, I remember that game very well. A lot of guys on our team didn't know much about him until after that game. And he really showed something special that as much as anything, his ability to anticipate, get the ball out of his hands, put the ball in tight windows. I think it really started with our game last year, like him really playing at a high level, and he carried that throughout the season. There's some young man's extremely talented. I know Kurt Warner pretty well, and I know Kurt spent a lot of time with him when he was in high school. And this guy's been very well trained both before SC and at SC. He's got a chance to be a good one on this level and a good one on the next level. Our guys remember that one extremely well, and hopefully try to slow him down. He's got a really good group of receivers and tight ends. So it's going to be a challenge.
We'll go back to RJ Abetia.
Coach, I know this has to be a tough game for Mike Wilson to miss. I'm just curious, is there any more clarity or even optimism on his situation right now?
Well, I think from the beginning, we were hoping that we get him back by midseason, if not a little bit before. So anytime you have one of these injuries, you're really waiting on the body to tell you. You're waiting on bones and everything to kind of bones and ligaments and muscles to pass some very objective tests before you can really start that progression to get back on the field to start doing those drills that get you ready to play. So, from the very beginning, we're looking at, okay, hopefully mid-season. If something progresses faster, okay, great, maybe a little bit before. So we're still not ready to make that assessment because we haven't really started the progression yet. But he's doing well outside of course, going crazy because he is such a competitor, and he would love to play in this game, but that's just not going to happen.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Troy.
You talked about shortening the game a bit earlier. That being said, against Kansas State, it seemed like the Stanford offense really seemed to kind of pick up a little bit when the tempo did get picked up a bit later on in the game, at least from my eye anyway. Is that an accurate assessment from your observation? And is picking up the tempo maybe something that might be in the bag for Stanford again going forward?
Well, I think we've always wanted to be able to change tempos. We'll jump the ball. We'll do different things during the course of the game. We also want to establish the run. We don't want to go out there and just let USC pass rush 40, 50 times. That's not in our advantage. Same thing with Kansas State. There were opportunities where we were really close to popping a couple of those runs, and those things could have changed the course of the game. We had a really nice run called back for a holding penalty. Had actually two decent runs called back. Now you're talking about being 2nd and 1. Now you're talking about being 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5. And not able to sustain those drives. So tempo is great, but for us, it's really about efficiency and getting positive plays and positive yards and establishing the run to be a big component of what we try to do.
We'll go back to Ben Parker.
Yeah, this is my last question. You kind of already touched on establishing the run, but what kind of needs to improve from last week to this week in order to get more than 35 rushing yards?
Yeah, there's a lot of little things. It wasn't big, right? It feels big when there's a lot of little things, but everything we saw in the film was correctable. There are going to be opportunities for our running backs. We're going to have to break a tackle. If it's one guy and our running back, hey, running back's got to break a tackle. But more importantly, we got to get our running back to and through the line of scrimmage. Combination of offensive line, tight ends, fullbacks. And at the same time, once we do get through the line of scrimmage, our receiver blocking, which I thought was decent, can improve as well and give our guys opportunity not just to get to the line of scrimmage, but to also make big plays beyond the line of scrimmage. That's not going to be easy. We all know this defensive front at USC is very formidable. But if we play with our leverage and we play with great technique and we play with great effort, we believe we've got a talented backfield that can do some pretty nice things.
Do we have any final questions for Coach? Okay, thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you, Coach.